Buckle up and get ready for a ride into the lives of Guyanese-Americans.
When a Guyanese do, be wary.
Join us as we get to know this community whose members come in every color and creed.
Our country is very diverse.
We'll see how they add so much flavor and spice, not only to their food, but to their surroundings as well. Coming up on the next World in America.
Guyanese-Americans are a unique blend.
Guyanese-Americans are an amazingly diverse set of people.
Primarily, they're a mixed group of people that has come here to America, and hard-working set of folks.
They haven't really changed much, even though they're in a different country.
We slipped right into the mosaic that is America.
They have blended in very nicely.
Anywhere, Sanko want you. Anywhere.
South America is home to many nations. One of the smaller but vibrant of these nations is Guyana. Located in the northern part of this continent, Guyana is a land of splendid beauty. Its inland is still 90% unpopulated, dotted with evergreen rainforests. First discovered and inhabited by the Arawak and Carib tribes of Amerindians, similar to many nations in Africa, Asia, and South America, Guyana had to go through multiple colonizations since the 17th century.
Guyana had gone through several changes. You had the Dutch, you had the French, and the Spanish, but ultimately the British took over and ran Guyana, from the 40s right through.
In 1831, the Kingdom of Great Britain formed this new colony under the name of British Guyana. Enslaved Africans were transported as a part of the transatlantic slave trade. After the abolition of slavery in 1834, work in the sugar plantations was taken care of by indentured laborers, mostly made up of Indians along with Portuguese, Chinese, and others.
Our Indian heritage, we came as indentured people. Our African heritage, we came initially as slaves.
Our country is very diverse.
This diversity is the result of multiple nationalities moving to Guyana, giving birth to the term the Land of Six People.
The largest segment of the population are Indo-Guyanese and Afro-Guyanese. And we have Guyanese who are of Portuguese origin, Chinese origin. We have the native Amerindians. We have local Europeans. And then, of course, you've got all the mixtures. And we've got a lot of them.
This diverse and dynamic nation stayed under the British rule for more than 130 years, and eventually it achieved its long-awaited independence.
Well, Guyana became independent in 1966 after much to do with the two political parties who were very certain on making Guyana become an independent nation.
Primarily, any migration out of Guyana was towards Britain. But after its independence, the new address for Guyanese immigrants became the United States of America.
The biggest influx of Guyanese started around 60 to 69. And then the second wave started also in the late 70s or in the early 70s. And again, the mass migration had to do with the political situation in Guyana.
Meet Varuna Singh. He and his family represent one of the many stories of the Guyanese experience in the U.S.
I have a real estate company in Kew Gardens. I'm also an investor. I buy and sell property. I was here in 1968 as a student, and I kind of really liked it. I went back in '74 to Guyana to do my public service, met my wife, and after a few years we decided to come back to America.
I have 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl.
These are called marigolds.
You leave your country with nothing at all. I did 3 jobs. I was a nurse. Because I could not afford babysitting, sometimes I used to take my 2 kids to the hospital.
Well, this is the jerk chicken I'm doing. You know, it's almost done.
I really, really like America. I like the diversity. I like the institutions that are available. I felt it was an ideal place to bring up my kids because of the amount of opportunities for personal growth. Guyanese-Americans have come here, they've sacrificed, many of them have worked 2-3 jobs. They've struggled, they've lived very meager lives, and I hope somewhere down the road their children are really going to look back and appreciate the sacrifices they have made for them as our ancestors made for us who came from India to Guyana.
All of those sacrifices have certainly paid off. Today, the new generation of Guyanese-Americans continue to keep up the main ingredients of their traditions. Without a doubt, the very first one is respect.
Respect. That's a key thing for Guyanese. It's sort of the hallmark of the Guyanese society.
Respect the elders very much.
When we meet elders, we normally bow and touch their feet.
We have this respect, like when we see an aunt or uncle, we'll say, you know, Auntie Stella, or we'll say, like my aunt is Stella.
We bow to our elders. Sometimes we refer to them as auntie, uncle.
Of course, distinctly Guyanas. You know, if you tell me something and I didn't like it, I'm going to stoops on you. And by doing that, if I did,
Girl.
you know that's a Guyanese. I turn around when I hear that automatically, because when a Guyanese do, be wary. That person is really, really mad.
It's the equivalent of saying, please, you know.
Sharda Singh is another hardworking Guyanese-American. She gives back to her community as a full-time public school teacher.
Okay. It's just like with CDs. A lot of you buy CDs, right? No. Sometimes they have an intro on the CD. Sometimes they have an intro, and sometimes they have what they call an outro. Have you ever heard of that? An intro and an outro.
I teach theater and English at a high school in Little Guyana, which has maybe the highest population of Guyanese students. So I'm right there in the trenches with them. I see a lot of how my people